Hi team, how are we doing? So apologies first, I know it's been a long while since I put a video up. I've just been manic with work. It's been our crazy season, but we're all done now. So I should have a bit more free time available to get on the sim rig and post some videos up as well. Anyway, to kick it off, I've got some new products coming just today. So we're going to do a bit of an unboxing, sort of first view on my new sim gear. So what have we got? Well, the anticipated off the press. We've got the new VRS Direct Force Pro pedals. So less talking, more action. Let's get on with it. Let's get them All right, so let's get on and take a look. So big box first. I've got all three pedals. So you get three separate boxes. Let's dive in. I haven't even had a look at them yet. So, out the top, first thing to come out is a spring, and then out come the pedals. First thing to say is a huge thank you to Midas Simulations, based in the UK. Matt, the owner of Midas, has gone above and beyond to secure me these pedals. I know, I think only 40 sets were originally released, so I've been very lucky to get hold of them. And I feel quite privileged the fact that we're going to be one of the first to review them. And the aim of getting these pedals is I'm going to do a back-to-back comparison with the HE Sprints and just see where they land. It's obviously very similar in price point. So let's take a closer look. So first things first, initially, they're much bigger and bulkier than the Sprints. I actually grab the clutch pedal. There we go. So now we've got three. So yeah, much bigger pedals than the Sprints straight away. Construction's pretty much the same. Pressed steel, bolted together in a sort of skeleton fashion. They look really cool. Really nice to look at out of the box. The big difference between these pedals and the Sprints is that these pedals, all three pedals, have got Loadcell sensors in them. And the other major difference is that with the brake pedal, there's no rubbers. We're just operating on a spring. So they've chosen to go away with the rubber bushings that you would normally see in most of the pedals. So it's going to be an interesting comparison. So what can I say? Straight away, I can feel there's a lot more weight. Obviously, they are sizably larger than the Sprints. I wish I took the Sprints off a rig so we could have compared them side by side, but we will do that in the future. But they're probably nearly double the weight of the Sprints. They're definitely a lot longer in the body. So the Sprints probably only be about that long in width. So these have got a good deal extra. Lots of adjustability from what I can see. So on the pedal face themselves, if we look there, you can see we've got adjustability to move the pedal face out, up, down, and angle it backwards and forwards. There's also on the back you can adjust to set the pedals upright or lay them back down depending on the orientation of your rig. That's a concern, but we'll get to that. Clutch pedal, same again, so adjustable at the back, just 2 bolts undo and you can orientate laid back or standing upright. Again, same on the top here, we've got lots of adjustability there, so yeah, that's looking pretty good. Right, let's get into it. So, we'll start off with a throttle pedal. And what is my concern is this spring. Let's get this cable out of the way. So, let's talk about the layout to begin with. So, the load sensor is actually placed in the pedal face. And you can see it from the front there. So we've got 2 bolts here on the front of the pedal at the bottom, and that looks like they've got adjustment So I'd assume, now I'm having to say I assume, because one thing I have noticed taking these out of the box is there's no instructions. I also had a look online before I wanted to do this review, trying to get some information, and there is very little available about how to adjust these pedals online. I'm on the Discord group for the virtual racing school, and they've got a channel on there for pedals, so I'm just hunting around, but there's nothing officially come from VRS. It's more just people who've bought them who are trying to figure out how to make them work. That's a bit of a drama for me. I know they're the first batch, so we're kind of like the beta testers, the lucky ones of us who've got them. But yeah, you'd expect some instructions, at least some explanation as to what they are and what things do, without having to have trial and error. So we've got the load cell on there. There's definitely some adjustment. Now I'm assuming if we push that load cell up to its highest adjustment, it's going to give you a stiffer pedal, and I'm not sure if it's going to change the characteristics of the curve, of the torque curve of the pedal. If you pull it all the way down, it's going to give you a lighter pedal, and again, I'm not too sure if it's going to change the characteristics. Now, we've got these orange bits in here. So these are the bump stocks here for the throttle pedal. So when we're pushing it down, we can adjust how far the action we want, where to hit the bump stop, which is good. The cable attached, it's just, I don't know what fitting that is on the end, but it's pretty standard. Solid fitting, it's good quality, really strong cable, really good outer casing light, so happy with that. It's routed nicely through the bottom, so there's nowhere to bind. A little bit of cheesiness going on there with the cable tie, but you know, gets the job done. Onto the spring. Really is a bit of a concern, this. So first off, the reasons they've done it, basic engineering, is if we go with a normal solution, let's look at the clutch pedal. So if we go with a normal solution like this, which is to have a rod that's sliding for a mounting, this has got a PTFE insert, which acts as like a self-lubrication for the rod. So if you have a rod-based system, which is a normal spring setup, the spring flexes only in one direction, and it's being pushed equally across its surface, and it's not able to twist and turn. Now, that's the plus side. The minus is that there will always be a degree of friction in this rod. So I think what they've tried to do with the throttle pedal is they've looked at the design and they've said we want to eliminate any kind of friction. So in that case, we're just going to go with without. So what we're left with is a completely random and ridiculous looking spring. My concern is that springs are really, in their design, should be pushed down equally on pressure. When you start to twist and bend, you're going to get a non-linear reaction from the spring. So the spring is not going to compress completely equally. You're going to get a lot of pressure building up on certain coils of the spring. So that's why they don't tend to do it in race cars. We'll always have springs mounted straight. It's just going to be a test of time as to how this works out. It does feel pretty good. With my hand, I can't feel anything binding. I don't feel any changes in the action of the spring as I'm pushing it down, but it does look utter pants. So it's going to be an interesting one to see how that pans out. So on the spring as well, on the back, we've actually got with this force adjustment on the front, where we can move. It's moving the entire load cell up and down. We also have to match that on the back with the spring rear mounting. So we've got 3 holes in the back there. I don't know if you can just see them. So if we're moving that load cell up, then we have to obviously move this spring rear hanger up as well. try and minimise this bend as much as we can. Going to be an interesting one. Other bit of a gripe I have with these pedals. So most of us, well, me, I don't know if you guys do as well. I wear boots when I'm on the sim, especially with these strong pedals that we're getting now. I don't like to wear socks because I feel my feet slide over these pedal faces. They seem to go for these smooth pedal faces all the time, and there's not much purchase or grip, and I really struggled with this with the Sprints. I ended up putting skateboard grip tape on the pedals, just so I've got purchase on them with my foot, because what I was finding is, especially with the brake, as I was pushing down, my foot was actually sliding up the pedal face, even with my boots on. And I was seeing these little fluctuations in my data as I was getting near peak force on the brakes. I could see the pedal just, I don't know, it was really hard, like not moving around like I could see it on the graph, and what it was my boot sliding on the pedal. So we're going to have the same problem with these, so I'm going to have to get the grip tape out at some point and re-grip tape them. But yeah, that's another drama. So in the bottom, this is another interesting thing, stand out from the Sprints, because I don't believe they have this, but we've got ball bearings on the main pivot for the pedal. The sealed unit, so nice small ball bearing unit, zero maintenance. I think that's going to only add, the reason I've done that again is to remove any friction, and also over time you're not going to get any changes in the pedal. So if you're using them for a really long endurance race, effectively with this setup you should have the same pedal you start the race with at the finish. I think that's the plan. So that's the throttle pedal. Onto the brakes. So with the brake pedal, straight out the bat, we've got two springs, and I'm going to say, just by looking at it, we've got a, is that blue, purple? I'm colourblind. I think it's purple spring in there. It's the thinner spring, so lower pressure, and this is the beefy red one. So we pretty much all know that straight away everyone's going to opt to put the red spring in, just because stronger is better, no? So let's get this cable out of the way. Again, the cabling's really nice, same as on the throttle pedal. Nice high quality stuff. Jesus, come on. So routed out the load cell, nice open path, dodgy cable tie attaching it, and a good length cable as well. So on this one we have, in here we've got a 200 kilo load cell. I can tell it's 200 kilos because it's stamped on the top. I don't know if you'll be able to see that. There we go, 200 kilos. Looks really good. So what we've got here, obviously we've done away with pedal rubbers, or VRS have done away with pedal rubbers and gone with just a spring setup. Now the way they've overcome that to try and make it feel like a real brake pedal on the car is to come up with this cam arrangement. Basically we've got a tie bar going to the top which pushes this cantilever which the spring is attached to give you that kind of end of pedal travel that we're all seeking, that would feel like a real brake pedal. So the way it works, you can see there, if I push down, push it quite hard, you can see the cam is moving and the spring is compressing. So neat little system. It's fully adjustable, so not sure, this is going to have an effect on the brake curve, this tie bar. So if we adjust it in and out, there's definitely going to be some effect there on the force curve as you apply the brakes. We've also got obviously the spring that's interchangeable. That's a quick change unit, so we can actually probably do it here. So to change the spring, let's have a go. We've got no instructions, but I'm going to take it. If you're into karting, this clip is very much the same as what you find on a go-kart brake pedal on most new karts now. So we're going to have that. There's a little hole there we can pop it out of. Padoing. And then we can take the spring out. come out the front. You. Going out the bottom. There we go. So that's how you do it. So let the pedal slide forward, and you can just pop the spring in and out through the bottom there. I'm such a faff artist. Got some spaces in there. Not sure why we haven't. Interesting. Right. So, on this spring, we do have 2 extra spaces. Now, I think they're going to be for preload of the spring. That's going to be something we're going to have to mess around with. So what I'd say is, out of the box, these pedals are going to be harder to set up than the Sprints in terms of time. You can flick the rubbers out of Sprints, wang some preload on, jump on, attack the software, and it can be set up in 5 minutes. These pedals are going to require a lot of jumping out backwards and forwards and spanners and faffing to set up. Once you've got them there, they're going to be fine. The problem, if you like to change your pedals between cars you jump in, you're going to be fanning around a lot. So in terms of Sprints, I'm going to say the Sprints are going to be easier. So spring wise, we'll just put that back together. And I'm going to have a look and ask the guys about these spacers. That's just going to be trial and error to get those spacers right. In fact, no, I'm going to pop the blue spring back in, and we're just going to start off as we were. So in through the bottom. And then just get the rod into its hole. Okay. So on the back, twat. On the back, this little bar has got a detented area. Make sure that's spring side and not like me being stupid. Don't put the round. Don't put the spring on the round end because it doesn't fit back together. Such a doofus. Right, there we go. So it should. Okay, and the rod only aligns back up in one direction, so you might have to spin it around 180 degrees. Right, there's your little clip that goes in. So just pop him in. Probably just going to need to put a little bit of pressure on the spring. So with your fingers, you can see I'm just pushing a little bit of pressure, and it will clip in. And then you just pull the spring down, clip it into place. I'm sure with practice it'll become a lot faster. So back to the setup. So we're going to have to figure out about these spacers. There's 3 spaces in there and some washers as well that change the preload of the spring. The rod on top, as we know, that length dictates the action of that cantilever, which again is going to be some trial and error playing around with that. So we've also got a bolt here. I know I've seen a few people have asked what this bolt is for. There it is. And they've got some very weird looking plastic bushes. These pedals do come with a damper kit. The kit has not been released yet. It's coming out in the summer, apparently. And that is where the damper mounts to. So the damper will actually slot into this black plastic hole that we've got in the back here. The damper's going to sit in there and it's going to bolt onto the bottom of the pedal, and I assume these two plastic washers that are in there that you can see are going to be the forward mounting for that damper, and in that case you'll also have adjustability on the damper. So I don't think those dampers are adjustable in the unit. I think they're at set pressure, but I think you can adjust stiffness using this vertical mounting hole here. Other than that, so my only gripe is that on the front face I can see the load cell. I don't think it's going to be a deal breaker, but it just looks a bit open, and yeah, it's very close to the edge yet. Be interested to see if that gets mucked up or marked with some use. But we've got the same again, we've got ball bearings in the main pivot point on the pedal. Obviously we've got spherical bearings that are adjustable for the rod, so there's going to be zero sort of friction or tolerances there, and then we've got the push rod for the brake pedal. So all in all, that looks pretty good. Onto the clutch pedal. Cable ties again. Clutch pedal, again, good cable, routed through the bottom. Cable tie at the bottom. We've got the adjustability for the up and down. We've got bump stop adjustability using the orange rubber, same as the throttle pedal. It has got a slightly different layout of the load cell compared to either the throttle or the brake pedal. So the throttle and brake pedal actually had the load cell sitting down this way. In the clutch pedal, the load cell is at an angle. We've got a standard spring with adjustable preload and obviously a Teflon coated insert push rod to keep it all nice and straight looking. Well, it looks proper, like almost a throttle pedal should, but this is the clutch. So really nice. Now the reason that I can see that they've aimed the load cell at this angle is so you get a kind of a kick, a pivot point. You can see as we push down, you can see as I push down, the push rod pivots and you get a snap in the pedal like you would on a normal clutch. It's to imitate that clutch friction plate snapping out. So it's pretty good. Clutch is really heavy on that standard spring. Probably going to feel better obviously when it's bolted down and I'm using my foot, not my hand, but yeah, looks pretty cool. So not much else to say on it rather than that. We've got standard mountings. So let me grab a tape measure and we'll measure them up for you, as they look around about the same as the Sprints. So mounting holes would be for the clutch about 65mm wide, and you've got 150mm maximum with some adjustability. Probably give yourself 120mm going down. Brake pedal is wider than the clutch, so it's around about 72mm. It's about 150 in length, so you can give yourself about 120 and you've got a decent bit of adjustability there. Throttle pedal mounting, 64mm center to center, and again about 150mm, 120, bang on, and you've got a bit of adjustment. So what else we got? There is the third box, which is, I believe, just the adapter or the plug-in box. So you get some cables, USB, and we've got quite a neat looking little junction box. So we've got the three inputs for the cables, no particular order, they all look the same, nothing written on the box. And then the USB out, and what looks like a reset button. Nice little box, screw mounted so you can fit it to your rig, keep it all nice and tidy. Very reminiscent of the DFP direct drive box, the control box you get. So yeah, nice addition. Nice that they've actually thought about mounting it to your rig as well, which is pretty cool. The cable length is not too bad, it's pretty good. So the cables, around about 30 centimeters from out the back of the unit, 33 centimeters in total. I think they'll all be about the same. Tell a lie. Brake pedal is even longer, so the brake pedal is 45. Throttle pedal is 40. So let's have a look at the hardware. So on the bag there, it's got Multicom Pro, USB 2 to BM, 1.83 meters in length. So decent sized cable, but if you have your PC a long way away from your rig, you're going to need to find a longer one. So yeah, 1.8 meters. It's got, I don't know what the name is of those, but it's got them on there, which I know is a good sign, and stops you hopefully having any issues with dodgy signals on your rig. So there we go, pedal review. What we'll do, I will get these bolted onto my rig in the next couple of days, and we'll have a look, see how they go, how they perform, and hopefully be able to report back to you with a comparison to the Sprint pedals. But for now, how do I feel? I'm not too bad, I don't think. I'm a little miffed with this throttle pedal. It's bugging me, bugging the hell out of me. But you know what? If it performs, I haven't got to look at it every day. If it performs okay, I can probably cope with it. But the rest of them are looking really good. Now, like I said, weight-wise, they're really sturdy pedals. They've got a nice wide base on. If you've got a strong rig, they're not going to flex around side by side as you use them. There's going to be zero flex in them. They are way and above what they need to be, which is always a good sign. The box they came in weighed about, I think it was 6.5 kilos in total to ship. So it's an interesting point if you're shipping them in. But it just gives you an indication just how much you weigh, because there isn't any weight in the boxes, put it like that, and there's no manual, so that's not adding any weight to it. So those 3 items, 6.5 kilos. So again, I just want to give a massive shout out to Midas Simulations in the UK, who have gone above and beyond to supply me with these pedals. Matthew actually only got 1 set in, because only 40 sets were put out, and he rang me up. He said, do you want them? He really wanted to get them over to me because he knew I was keen to do a review. He didn't even have a go with them himself, bless him. He boxed them straight up and sent them over to me on the same day they arrived. So I believe he did get them out of the box to have a look, but I've just got to say massive thank you to Midas. If you need anything for your simulators, obviously he's the official UK stockist for VRS products, but also SimuCube, and he does full rigs, PCs, full packages, anything you need regarding sim racing, give him a call. He's one of the nicest guys in sim racing, and yeah, really happy with it, with his service. So if I do keep these, I will be paying him for them. It's not he hasn't paid me to do this promotion at all. I'm simply going to test them out, see how I get on with them, and if I do keep them, then I shall be sending him some British pounds to pay for them. So you can take my feedback as being totally unbiased. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Just a quickie. and I'll try and get the comparison film up by this weekend. So if you haven't, give us a like and subscribe on the channel, and stay posted. Watch out for us on Facebook as well, and Instagram. And yeah, we'll keep you up to date. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in a few days. Cheers.